him. Hits the contested 3. And then Nick, check out what he does next. Taps Robert Covington right on the tushy, as my 5-year-old would say. A little tush tap right there.
Normally I wouldn't support this, but Chris Paul had just gotten a ridiculous technical 1 minute prior for this evidently newly emphasized air punch. And so he knew he wasn't going to get a tech for this, so he took advantage of it. So I support this by the point guard.
Disrespectful.
Disrespectful.
Oh, Wiles, that was his favorite thing, and he didn't get to say anything. We keep doing that to
Pelicans All-Star
later in the show.
Brandon Ingram taking the honors, most improved player. Great first season in New Orleans, averaging 24, 6, and 4 Wilds.
So I'm torn on this. It's like the Natalie Imbruglia song, Torn. That's how I feel. Nick.
Wow.
I feel like we need
was a great reference, Wilds.
I knew you'd like that one. I feel like we need another award. I'm pro trophies. I'm pro award. We need another award. Most improved player, let it be for everyone. But there was some talks like, oh, Luka should get it. Like, Brandon Ingram wins it. He was the #2 pick in the draft. We need another award.
So
like,
if you're a top
most
5
improved
pick,
player
I don't know
that
if
was drafted
you should,
late.
Right. Correct. If you're a top 5 pick, I don't know if you should win this award early in your career. That's first of all. Second of all, see what a year under LeBron James' tutelage does for a guy. Gets his whole career going.
You guys see what's happening here? Look at this. Jags jersey collection.
That's a great way to spin
Brandon, check out this fan's collection of all the Jags players who are no longer Jags players.
Listen, I feel for these guys. Is there any other fan base that you feel more sad for? I mean, you have the Jets, you have the Cleveland Browns. I'm right there with you. I got Mercedes Lewis. All right, I got it. I have Mike Sims Walker. If you get a wide shot, I got Blake Bortles on my wall up top. I feel the same way.
Bortles.
I mean, come on. You bring in these guys and then you lose them.
Oh, is he a UCF guy like
Players are here. They're on their way out.
He's a UCF guy. That's why.
Oh,
Time
okay,
for a little no huddle. Let's start in New Orleans, where Alvin Kamara started camp, subsequently left camp, now has not shown up to camp since Friday. The running back reportedly making a late push for a contract extension. Brandon Marshall, what would the Saints offense look like without Alvin Kamara?
I support 41. Listen, this is a big deal. Everything runs through these guys. I mean, we have a graphic to show you where this duo, 41 and 13, I mean, they almost make up for half of this team's scrimmage yardage. Like, come on. You got to get this guy signed. When you look at what Drew Brees does, he literally drops back. He looks at 13 and then drop down to 41. Let me put this in perspective for you. This is how easy this offense is for them. And I was there. This was my last cup of tea. Drew Brees drops back. He looks at the will linebacker. If the will linebacker get underneath 13, he throws it to 41. If the will backer jumps 41, he throws it to 13. So if he's not there, then this is very disturbing for not only Drew Brees, but this entire organization, because everything runs through them. I literally saw Drew Brees stand in the mirror for 30 minutes, just rocking back and forth and just looking in the mirror. I went to the strength and conditioning coach and I asked him, I said, Coach, what is he doing? He said he's literally going through every single play in the playbook in every situation. And when everybody clears out the bubble, he's going to go out there on the field and do it again. He does it every single Friday. He's literally going through, where's 13? Where's 41? Where's 13? Where's 41? If he's not there, that disrupts Drew Brees' whole process, and now he has to develop a new process and a new procedure. They need to get this deal done fast.
Just fun fact, I also spend 30 minutes rocking back and forth in front of the mirror, but it's just to make sure my hair is correct. So that's me and Drew Brees, 2 peas in a pod. Look, I think I'm going to become an NFL agent, Nick. This is all I would say if I was Kamara's agent. Like, hey, Will Lutz, the kicker, is making 3.1, and the punter is making 3. And my guy, who's selling jerseys and putting butts in the seats, even though we're not going to have butts in the seats, but you know what the metaphor means, is making 2.1. Let's do this right. We got Tom Brady coming in. Let's not mess around. Get the deal done. Let's move forward.
So here's the issue for the Saints. Because we know paying running backs in this league is usually not smart long-term business, but they are, and this has been underreported, I think, so far all in on this year. They keep borrowing from Peter, future Saints, to deal with this season. Their cap for next season, the cap will be around $200 million. They have $256 million on the books for next year, meaning they just keep saying one last year with Drew, and then we're going to have to tear it all down. Kamara knows that, so you might say, well, if they don't have the money, how can he hold out? Because he knows that if this is their last chance at a Super Bowl, they can't afford being without him, as Brandon described, because he's such a key part of their offense. And in a league where the Minnesota Vikings can call up Riley Reif and say, you know what, if you don't take a pay cut, we're cutting you 9 days before the season starts, and nobody bats an eye. I fully support Alvin Kamara 9 days before the NFL season kicks off, saying, you know what, I think I've got some leverage. I'm going to try to press that leverage.
Is there anything better than the visual of Kevin bopping back and forth, just looking at himself in the mirror? Nothing. On to Arizona. Larry Fitzgerald celebrating his 37th birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, buddy. Are you one? Are you two? Are you three? Never mind. His new teammate, DeAndre Hopkins, on Larry right here, said this: you can just tell by the way he plays the game that he's out there to win every game. Brandon, how big of a deal is it for a young quarterback like Kyler Murray to have weapons like DeAndre Hopkins, like Larry Fitzgerald out there to throw to?
I mean, it's everything. You can come into the NFL and you can have a good example and you can have a bad example. And we call them the ultimate pros. Larry Fitzgerald is the ultimate pro. So Kyler coming in trying to figure out what his routine is, what works, what doesn't work. It's easy when you have a good pro in the locker room to see, oh, this is how Larry takes care of his body. This is how Larry approaches watching film. Oh, this is how Larry approaches practice. So any player that has a good pro in the locker room, it speeds up that maturation process. When I walked in my locker room, I had Rod Smith, I had Nolan, I had so many guys that I could, John Lynch. I had the ultimate pros that I could lean on and help me develop my routine. So this is everything for Kyler and a young player.
Brandon, did you have other wide receivers teach you things like, is DeAndre learning from Larry and Larry learning from DeAndre?
100%. That's how it's supposed to be done. Every single practice we go out there, we hold each other accountable, and we also try to pull from each other's games.
Well, and I'll take it a step further for what it means for the Cardinals for this season. In the modern NFL, if you've got a star quarterback, and I'm not sure if Kyler is that yet, but the Cardinals sure are because they moved on from Rosen and took him #1 overall. The time to win is starting with his second year in the league. Obviously, we saw Wentz in year 2 almost win an MVP. Mahomes in year 2 did win an MVP. Lamar in year 2 did win an MVP. And who is the guy that Kyler gets compared to more than any other quarterback in football? Russell Wilson. What'd he do in year 2? Won the damn Super Bowl. And so the Cardinals understand that. I know they're not going to win the Super Bowl, but the idea is when you go out and trade for DeAndre Hopkins, when you invest in Budda Baker the way you did, you've got him, Chandler Jones, Patrick Peterson on defense, Fitz is still there. They absolutely think they can go from the #1 pick of the draft 2 years ago to in the playoffs, if not winning that tough division. It might not be what I think they can do, but that's the Cardinals' expectation level for themselves this year, and Fitz and Nuke are a huge part of it.
All right, happy birthday, Larry Fitzgerald.
Next
up, we head to Green Bay, where running back Aaron Jones says the Packers' offense looks crisper headed into year 2 under Matt LaFleur. I like that word. Brandon, have the Packers put enough around Aaron Rodgers to win a Super Bowl this season?
No, and we know that. There was a lot of people up in arms when they chose a quarterback at the 26th pick this year. Like, no, they've never done that. And I've said this, and I've gotten a lot of flack for saying this, and some people actually cheered me on. But Aaron Rodgers, like, this is the most underutilized player we've ever seen in our game. He should have 3 Super Bowls. You got one out of Aaron Rodgers, who Just a few years ago, we were talking about being the best quarterback ever. Come on, this is a problem.
Brandon,
Kevin.
the Packers open up in Minnesota. Minnesota's defense just got better. Is it fair to say, or can you figure out how crisp your offense is, even though you had no preseason games?
Well, we know this. I mean, their offense has never been an issue. It's always been about their defense. Can they get to the quarterback? Can they play cover one? No, the answer was no, and they continue to play cover one. Last year, that we saw this guy go from the bottom of the pack to mid-tier. Can we take a step forward? Can we expand on that? And I don't think they've made any changes this offseason to do that. When we talk about their offense, you have one of the best quarterbacks the game has ever seen. Of course, your offense is going to look good. I mean, he's the ultimate pro. We just talked about this with Larry Fitzgerald. He's going to make sure his guys are in position. We saw this guy do this with scout team players. He made scout team wide receivers look good. This is Aaron Rodgers.
And Brandon, while they were 13-3 last year, the smart numbers say that they way overachieved from a win total compared to what they should have done 100%. As far as outscoring their opponents and how good the team actually was. This offseason, they didn't make any major additions. The biggest move they made was one to infuriate arguably the best player in the history of their franchise, and the rest of the division got better. So, like, I just feel like I don't think the Packers are out of the playoffs. But last year, even at 13-3, Jenna, they were not a Super Bowl caliber team last year. We saw them play the NFC representative for the Super Bowl twice, and they got mollywopped both times. I don't see how they close the gap.
They open up against the Vikings week 1 on Fox, so how about that for a little division rivalry there? Coming up, is Russell Westbrook going to cost the Rockets a